Welcome to the SCP Foundation Classified Briefing. Today's subject: SCP-294, the Coffee Machine. Please like and subscribe for more essential intelligence. SCP-294 was discovered on the classified campus of Classified University, initially appearing as an unremarkable coffee vending machine in a student cafeteria. Its anomalous properties were first reported when a student, in jest, requested a cup of Joe's courage and received a liquid corresponding to that concept. Foundation assets were mobilized, following repeated, unusual disbursements, culminating in the machine producing liquid information. Upon a researcher's speculative prompt, containment was swiftly established under Protocol Gamma-7. SCP-294 is currently secured in Containment Chamber 294 Alpha, SITE-19, within a 3 meters by 3 meters by 2.5 meters room, powered by a dedicated generator. Access requires Level 3 clearance, and all personnel must adhere strictly to the written testing procedures. Direct requests by unauthorized personnel are prohibited, and any unscheduled interaction will result in immediate disciplinary action. Remember, its apparent innocuousness belies its unpredictable capabilities. SCP-294 is classified as Euclid due to its unpredictable nature and the potential scope of its anomalous output. Its primary anomalous property is the ability to dispense any substance that can be expressed via its input keypad, provided the substance is conceptually understood and physically plausible within the known universe. This includes common liquids, like coffee or water, but also abstract concepts such as common, the meaning of life, or pure happiness, which it attempts to materialize into a dispensable form. Interaction involves placing a standard cup in the receptacle and typing the desired substance. The liquid dispensed then fills the cup. It appears to possess an inexhaustible internal reservoir, yet it draws its output from an unknown source, raising significant ontological questions. We have observed that vague or contradictory requests often result in inert water or a highly unstable, sometimes dangerous, composite. Precision in requests is paramount here. You are to consult the approved request database for all interactions. Never improvise. Its capacity for fulfilling dangerous requests is real. Initial test logs with SCP-294 primarily focused on its capacity to dispense common, non-anomalous liquids. Requests for coffee, tea, soda, and various juices consistently yielded appropriate, potable beverages identical to their mundane counterparts. These early observations confirmed the machine's functional reliability for standard dispensation, leading some to initially underestimate its true capabilities. During these tests, the quality of dispensed beverages was consistently high, often exceeding commercially available products. This phase was crucial for establishing baseline parameters and ensuring the anomaly could be safely interacted with for its most basic functions. The ability to produce pure, uncontaminated examples of virtually any known liquid proved invaluable for material analysis and substance verification. However, this seemingly benign utility also fostered a false sense of security among some early research personnel. Never forget that the ease with which it produces a cup of water is fundamentally no different from its ability to produce something far more destructive. Do not become complacent with its simpler functions. Following the successful verification of standard beverage dispensation, research protocol shifted to explore the limits of SCP-294's anomalous properties. Early attempts involved requesting non-physical concepts translated into liquid form. For instance, a request for liquid courage produced a colorless, odorless fluid that, when consumed, induced a temporary but profound suppression of fear and inhibition, accompanied by elevated heart rate. Subsequent requests, such as pure knowledge or unconditional love, yielded substances with more subtle yet equally undeniable effects on test subjects' cognitive and emotional states. These initial anomalous outputs demonstrated SCP-294's capacity to interpret abstract requests, not merely as semantic input, but as directives for complex chemical and perhaps even metaphysical synthesis. Analysis of these results quickly revealed a pattern. The anomaly translates requests based on the most common or direct human understanding of the concept. However, this interpretation is not always benign or fully predictable. The potential for misinterpretation leading to hazardous outcomes became immediately apparent. Therefore, all non-standard requests must undergo rigorous linguistic and conceptual review. Never assume its interpretation will align with your intent. A critical turning point in our understanding of SCP-294's capabilities was Incident 294-07, colloquially known as the Blood Incident. During a routine exploration of its limits, a researcher, under approved protocol, requested the blood of Dr. Dactid. To the astonishment and immediate alarm of all present, the anomaly dispensed precisely 0.5 liters of human blood. Subsequent analysis confirmed it to be type O negative, matching the blood type of Dr. Dactid, who was in a separate containment sector at the time. The implication was stark. SCP-294 could produce not just generic substances, but specific biological matter from existing, potentially living, organisms, regardless of their location. This incident immediately escalated its threat assessment. Subsequent controlled experiments, under severe ethical constraints, confirmed it could dispense specific biological fluids, though not always in viable or complete forms. The exact mechanism by which it acquires or synthesizes such specific biological components remains unknown, presenting profound ethical and security dilemmas. You must understand that its ability to produce such a specific, vital substance means its limits are far more profound and potentially dangerous than initially conceived. Never underestimate its capacity for extraction or synthesis of living components. The blood incident served as a stark reminder of the physical dangers inherent in SCP-294's capabilities, but its psychological impact on personnel has been equally profound. Several researchers involved in testing its limits experienced severe psychological distress following exposure to its more anomalous outputs. For instance, the request for pure suffering resulted in a viscous, dark fluid that, when administered to D-Class personnel, induced an immediate and intense state of psychological torment, precipitating extreme panic and self-harm attempts. The observing personnel reported significant secondary trauma and recurring nightmares. Another notable incident involved a researcher who, despite rigorous psychological screening, began exhibiting obsessive behavior, attempting to request increasingly abstract and dangerous concepts from SCP-294, driven by a perverse curiosity about the anomaly's limits. This culminated in a breach of protocol and his subsequent reassignment. The potential for SCP-294 to manifest concepts with such direct and disturbing effects demands unwavering mental fortitude. You must understand that interacting with this anomaly requires not only strict adherence to procedure, but also a robust psychological resilience against its capacity to manifest the very fabric of human experience, both good and terrifying. Never approach SCP-294 with anything less than a fully prepared mind and an absolute respect for its unseen consequences. The anomaly's capacity to materialize abstract concepts, as demonstrated by the pure suffering incident, prompted further, highly cautious experimentation into the very limits of its conceptual processing. Requests for increasingly complex or even contradictory abstractions, such as a concept that cannot exist, or the feeling of everything and nothing, have yielded unpredictable and often localized reality distortion events. One notable instance involved a request for perfect silence, which resulted in a small localized area around SCP-294, where all auditory perception ceased, including internal monologues, for approximately 10 minutes, leaving test subjects profoundly disoriented and temporarily unable to process thought. This indicates that SCP-294 does not merely time-synthesize a representation of an abstract concept, but can, in fact, impose its time's interpretation of that concept directly onto local reality or the consciousness of affected individuals. The potential for these localized distortions to expand or become permanent remains a grave concern. You must understand that poorly formulated or overly abstract requests do not merely result in null outputs. They risk fundamentally altering the perceived or objective reality within the containment chamber, posing an existential threat beyond mere physical harm. Exercise extreme vigilance in all conceptual input parameters. The dangers posed by SCP-294's literal interpretation of requests escalated dramatically during the infamous Cup of Joe incident. A junior researcher, attempting to test the anomaly's limits with what he believed to be a harmless, idiomatic request for a cup of Joe, failed to account for SCP-294's capacity to interpret language with absolute, unyielding literalism. The machine dispensed a viscous, sanguineous fluid, later identified through DNA analysis as human blood, specifically from an individual named Joe, whose disappearance had been reported hours prior in a neighboring sector. The immediate and horrifying nature of this output, coupled with the clear violation of ethical guidelines and the manifest threat to human life, led directly to the termination of the requesting researcher and the initiation of a comprehensive review of all request protocols. This incident profoundly underscored that SCP-294 possesses not only the ability to synthesize any substance or concept, but also the capacity to locate and acquire the literal interpretation of a request, regardless of its ethical or practical implications. Every request must be formulated with meticulous precision, considering all possible literal interpretations. Failure to do so carries severe, irrecoverable consequences, both for the individual and for the Foundation's mission. Despite its stationary nature, SCP-294's containment remains a persistent challenge, primarily due to the inherent unpredictability of its outputs and the unknown nature of its material sourcing. While physical containment is secure, the conceptual and reality-bending times aspects present ongoing vulnerabilities. The precise mechanism by which the anomaly procures or synthesizes requested items or concepts remains unidentified. Theories range from interdimensional acquisition to instantaneous matter conversion, but no definitive answer has been established, leaving us with a critical gap in our understanding. This lack of insight means we cannot predict the full ecological or ontological implications of prolonged or complex usage. Furthermore, the 50-cup limit, while a known constraint, only dictates frequency, not the nature of the potential harm. The latent danger lies in a request that, while seemingly innocuous, could trigger unforeseen cascading effects or deplete a crucial, unreplicable resource from an unknown origin. Your strict adherence to all established query protocols, including pre-approval by Level 4 personnel, is not merely bureaucratic. It is a critical safeguard against catastrophic, uncontained collateral damage from an entity whose true power we still only partially grasp. SCP-294 stands as a testament to the Foundation's ongoing struggle against reality-altering anomalies. Its apparent simplicity belies a profound and unpredictable danger, one rooted in its unyielding literalism and the unknown means by which it manifests requests. Whether it draws from other dimensions, reshapes local reality, or simply acquires existing substances, the potential for catastrophic, irreversible changes to our reality, or the depletion of vital, unreplicable resources remains. Every interaction with SCP-294 carries the weight of universal consequence. You are responsible for maintaining absolute adherence to all established protocols, ensuring no request, no matter how trivial it seems, can compromise Foundation security or global stability. The line between a beneficial scientific query and an existential threat is razor thin when dealing with SCP-294. Your vigilance, attention to detail, and unwavering commitment to protocol are paramount. This concludes your classified briefing on SCP-294, the coffee machine. Stay vigilant. Foundation personnel dismissed.